Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North on the programme tonight. The government announces a national inquiry into the so-called Battle of Orgreave, one of the most violent days of the 1984 miners' strike.
There's still people that suffered and still suffering from what happened 41 years ago, and they deserve the truth comes out, even though there's a lot of us that are no longer here to hear it.
We'll hear reaction from campaigners and former miners and find out about the inquiry from the Home Secretary. Also tonight, an unlicensed driver who inhaled laughing gas just moments before he killed a pedestrian in a hit-and-run crash is jailed. And we look at what high school pupils in Sheffield got up to when they ditched their smartphones for a 3-week experiment. Also tonight we meet the founder of a walking group in Huddersfield that members say has changed their lives for better. Now he's been nominated for an award.
This picture sums today's weather up very well. There's been some sunshine, but also showers and local thunderstorms. But what about the week ahead? Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello there, I hope you had a good weekend. Thank you for joining us for the first Look North of the week. We have waited a long time for this day. That's what campaigners have told us after the government announced that a full inquiry into the so-called Battle of Orgreave would start before the end of the year. The clash between police and miners was one of the most violent days of the miners' strike in the 1980s. Here's a reminder of what happened back then. Back in March 1984, more than 100,000 miners went on strike across the country to oppose pit closures. On the 18th of June, thousands of miners were bussed to Orgreave in an attempt to disrupt deliveries. An estimated 6,000 police officers, some of them on horseback, others with dogs or riot shields, formed a cordon around the plant. There were violent clashes between the two. Now, at least 120 miners and police officers were injured. 95 picketers were arrested and charged with riot and violent disorder, but all charges were later dropped after evidence was discredited. Well, since 2012, the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign has been calling for a public inquiry into the event and how it was policed. Today, the government said that inquiry would start in autumn. Well, Phil Bodmer is at that former colliery site for us tonight. And as we've just heard there, Phil, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, too long, some people would say. This is the memorial dedicated to the workers of Orgreave Colliery. But if you look at the plaque there, Amy, you'll see it says the pit closed in 1981. But the landscape here is unrecognisable from 4 decades ago. Behind me is Waverley. That's a new housing development, 4,000 homes there. And that's where the coking works once stood. So a lot has changed. I tell you what hasn't changed. That's the mood among the pickets and the miners on strike, their anger, their bitterness and their resentment about the way they were treated by the police and the authorities. It was one of the bloodiest and most violent days of the year-long miners' strike. Thousands of police clashed with pickets at a coking plant near Rotherham in the now infamous Battle of Orgreave. In the decades since, there have been unrelenting calls for a public inquiry into the events of June the 18th, 1984.
It's in the public interest, in everybody's interest, whether you took part in it or not, that we get to the truth. And yeah, it's been 41 years ago, but there's still people that suffered and still suffering from what happened 41 years ago, and they deserve the truth comes out, even though there's a lot of us that are no longer here to hear it.
An inquiry was part of a Labour manifesto last year. Today, the Home Secretary announced it will have powers to compel people to provide information in order to uncover the truth of what happened.
Since I became essentially the Police and Crime Commissioner for South Yorkshire Police and South Yorkshire, I've said we need to improve trust and confidence in policing. That's not just a South Yorkshire issue, that's a national issue, but it's particularly acute here because of some of those issues that we faced, Hillsborough, CSE and of course Orgreave. So what we need is justice, we need to see transparency and daylight, and that's what the Home Secretary is now saying we will get through the inquiry, so I'm really pleased to see it.
The pitched battles are considered one of the worst episodes in British industrial history. This afternoon at a news conference in Sheffield, those who've been calling for inquiry said they want answers to their many questions.
people have still been maligned 41 years later. You know, they need to have that record put straight. You know, this has affected people's lives really badly. And we need to make sure that they, you know, that they get the justice that they deserve.
The miners' strike was a massive event that lasted for over a year, and so we had to choose one event to shine a light on the terrible policing that took place throughout that year-long strike. And Orgreave is on everybody's minds. Everyone's seen the shocking images, so I'm hoping that the inquiry won't take long to come to a good conclusion.
I know I had to wait 14 months for my name to be cleared. All that time thinking I could go to prison for life.
At today's press briefing, campaigners told us they would like to see the inquiry begin this autumn. It will be chaired by the Bishop of Sheffield. Orgreave is a very different place to what it was in 1984. Out of the ashes of the old coking works, new homes have risen. But those who remember the chaos of then say what happened here must not be forgotten amidst the calm of now. Well, South Yorkshire Police say they will fully cooperate with the inquiry. In a statement, they told us, over the last few years, a small team has been reviewing and cataloguing all the material held by the force and ensuring anything released is done so in line with the requirements of data protection. They say this will now form part of the Orgreave inquiry, and they hope this work already undertaken will help ensure there is pace behind the process. Well, that's something that those who have long campaigned for this inquiry will be hoping comes to pass. Amy.
I'm sure they will, Phil. Thank you. Well, for the people who have campaigned for an inquiry, this day is emotional. John Dunn is a former miner and was injured on another picket line. He wants the investigation into what happened at Orgreave to examine police tactics on the day.
Hello, I'm John Dunn. I was a Derbyshire miner. I'm a campaigner with the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign. I'm so proud of these incredible people. They've kept me going, you know, through dark days, through despair. They've given me a cause to fight alongside. They've moved mountains. They're incredible people. It's 41 years that, we had the old state apparatus turn on my union, the NUM. Orgreave became the most visible, most talked about. It was seen on every news bulletin that day. Footage actually reversed, making us look like the perpetrators of any violence. It's important because how did 6,000 police know to be waiting in full riot gear, waiting for pickets, and why were they given the instructions to run rampant? We've got to expose what happened then, who gave the orders, and hopefully that will then open the door to every similar incident that happened every day throughout that year-long strike in all our communities. I'd like to think that the people who perjured themselves against us, the people who told police what to write in statements about Orgreave, the politicians, the senior chief officers, I'd like to think that they could be held accountable in a court of law. But I'll qualify that by saying I ain't going to hold my breath for that. I think we've got to have some faith. It's the only opportunity in 41 years we've had. We're all getting older. There are something like 5,000 miners die every year. We can't keep waiting and waiting. We've been denied justice all this time, and we've also got to keep the pressure on. Full disclosure of everything. It's our turn. We want to tell our story and we want the truth to be out.
Well, we hope John gets the answers he's looking for. In a statement, South Yorkshire Police Federation said today that the inquiry would be long and protracted, with the cost of it leading to there being even less money in the policing purse, which it said would have a negative impact on the public of South Yorkshire. It said while the Federation supports serving police officers, it would also be providing support to retired colleagues during any upcoming proceedings. Well, the Home Secretary spoke to our political editor James Vincent as she made her announcement to campaigners. He started by asking her exactly what that inquiry would be looking into.
It will be able to look at all of the issues, the unanswered questions, to be able to get to the truth, both about the issues around the violent injuries, the clashes that took place actually that day, but also about what happened then afterwards. The fact we obviously had the prosecutions and then the discredited evidence as well.
So is that a commitment to look at not what just happened here on that day, but also subsequently in terms of what South Yorkshire Police did and the corroboration between statements and making, the allegations of falsifying evidence?
Well, we'll set out the final terms of reference after consultation with the Bishop of Sheffield, who's going to be chairing it, and also with the NUM, with the Orgreave Truth and Justice campaign, with a lot of the campaigners who have been involved in this for very many years. And that will then set out the final terms of reference. But ultimately, then it will be up to the chair, the questions that he pursues, the questions that the panel ask, and the issues that they then look at. We know, for example, that there are files, there is evidence held in police forces across the country. All of that will need to be put forward to the Orgreave inquiry, and it will have the statutory powers to be able to get all of the evidence that it needs. Because I think, look, people have waited for answers for far too long.
Are you worried that some police forces may have got rid of that evidence? We heard what happened in Northumbria with the deletion of those files. Are you worried that some of that evidence just doesn't exist anymore?
Well, as soon as I heard that, I did write to all police chiefs, to all police forces across the country, to remind them of the importance of ensuring that any evidence, information or files that they have has to be preserved for this inquiry.
And finally, I know the campaigners have been campaigning for this for 13 years, but like you say, it was 41 years ago. A Labour government could have done this a long time ago. You were in government from 97 to 2010. You could have done this earlier.
And I think what happened was, after the Hillsborough panel, which happened more than 10 years ago now, it became clear actually the effectiveness of being able to have those panels and inquiries. And this is something that I, as previously as the Home Affairs Select Committee chair, asked questions of police forces right across the country, and we were able to gather some evidence on that, but it wasn't the same as a full inquiry. And that's why this is something that obviously I've been involved talking to some of the campaigners over very many years on this issue, because this is so important to the Yorkshire coalfields.
Home Secretary, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to move on now to some other stories in the bulletin. An unlicensed driver who inhaled laughing gas just moments before he killed an 81-year-old pedestrian in a hit-and-run crash has been jailed. Kane Byrne ignored a red light and was speeding when he crashed into Graham Slim as he walked his bike across the road in April. Today, a judge said he had shown a complete lack of self-control and utter disregard for the law. Beth Parsons reports.
This CCTV footage shows 20-year-old Kane Byrne driving around Rotherham with cloned number plates and frequently inhaling nitrous oxide, often known as laughing gas, moments before causing the death of Graham Slynn. During sentencing at Sheffield Crown Court, witnesses described how on the 4th of April this year, Graham Slynn tried to use this pedestrian crossing on the A57 near Toddick, but Kane Byrne drove at speeds of up to 80 miles per hour through a red light and hit Graham, throwing him and his bicycle 15 feet into the air. Graham died at the roadside. Byrne did not slow down or stop.
Police!
Investigations by South Yorkshire Police led to charges of causing death by dangerous driving, driving while disqualified and driving without insurance. He pleaded guilty to all offences. Here at Sheffield Crown Court today, Kane Byrne was sentenced to 11.5 years behind bars, with a further 5 years on licence. He'll also be disqualified from driving for at least 17.5 years after release. Today, His Honour Judge Richardson listed him as a dangerous offender, saying the public must be protected from his deviant, ingrained and criminal behaviour.
This is not a marginal or borderline decision. You pose very serious dangers to the public by your repeated criminality and your total disregard of the law.
To drive on a motor vehicle on a road is a privilege and one of great responsibility. And Kane Byrne showed no care or respect for this responsibility, the law, or other members of the public.
Nothing that anybody does, no sentence that anybody serves will ever bring him back. Of course it won't, but it does mean that somebody who's a danger to the public is not a danger to the public for some considerable time.
Graham's wife Jacqueline says they were due to celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary last month, a celebration that never went ahead. As for Graham's son, he's been speaking about not only the waste of his dad's life, but of Kane Byrne's life too.
He's done that to someone else. He'll have to live with that. He'll now have to spend a considerable amount of time in prison. He's wasted a life, but he's also wasted his own life.
Graham's family have been keen to thank those who did stop and try to help their dad on the day that he died. Beth Parsons, BBC Look North.
2 men have been arrested after a cannabis farm was found at a property in Bradford. West Yorkshire Police were called to the former TJ Hughes department store on Sunbridge Road yesterday morning after reports of a burglary. A 36-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of producing a controlled Class B drug of Class B. A 39-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of possessing criminal property, conspiring to produce a Class B drug and possession of a controlled drug. Leeds Rhinos legend and motor neurone disease campaigner Rob Burrow is to have a train named after him. The train company Northern is working with Rob's family and the MND Association to design it ahead of the unveiling later this year. Northern says it's thrilled to have the opportunity to honour Rob's legacy. Now, pupils at a high school in Sheffield have taken part in a project to give up smartphones for 3 weeks. 32 young people from Ecclesfield Secondary swapped their high-tech devices for brick phones. The challenge, in conjunction with Sheffield Hallam University, was filmed to show others that childhood doesn't have to revolve around a smartphone. Head teacher Richard Walkden and Year 8 pupils David and Bo came in earlier to tell me about it. I started by asking Richard how he'd seen smartphones affect his pupils.
Yeah, the biggest issue we've had in schools in the 8 years I've been a head teacher is the impact on students' concentration, the impact on their sleep. It's children sneaking off to the toilet possibly. It's those conflicts that happen outside the school hours, end of a school day, particularly over the weekends when we come back to the Monday morning. To the impact that smartphones have had, it's enormous. You know, they dominate people's lives, and in particular they dominate our children's lives. That's why this piece of work has been so important.
So you two took part in this experiment, didn't you, where you gave up your phones for 3 weeks. David, very briefly, why did you want to do it?
Ironically, I saw it on social media, so I wanted to try it out because I asked my mum if I could sign up to it, and she said yeah. So that's basically how I found it and wanted to do it.
And how did you find the 3 weeks?
They were pretty good. I actually felt relaxed. No group chat messages, like people couldn't text me as much.
And for you, Bo, what sort of things did you do with the 3 weeks that you swapped your smartphone for a brick phone?
Well, during the 3 weeks I took up a new hobby and I started fishing, and I went like 4 times a week and I really enjoyed it, and to this day I still fish, and I've convinced my dad and he started fishing as well.
And so how has it changed your relationship with your family? Has it had a positive impact?
I think it's had a bit of a positive impact because now we go out fishing a lot, so we're all together a bit more.
David, when you took part in this experiment, what did you notice about the friends around you who hadn't given up their smartphones?
It were like quite strange because I wanted to talk to them face to face, but obviously they were looking at their smartphone and I couldn't really do that.
So, new hobbies, Richard. What do you hope the long-term impact of this experiment will be?
I'm hoping that in the fact that the 32 students have done this, been successful, it's about us now spreading the word to more students within the school, but also to the families, so families can understand that, you know, mobile phones don't have to dominate day-to-day family life, and hopefully we can get students at a younger age, rather than coming to us when they're 11, we can get into them primary schools and make a bigger difference there as well.
And hopefully they can all go out and enjoy new hobbies over the summer holidays like you two. Well done, thank you so much for coming in. It's something we've followed closely, isn't it, on Look North, young people and smartphones, and hopefully lots of young people will enjoy the summer holidays without being glued to their phones. We know it's a constant battle, isn't it, in households, Sam?
I've got 2 teenagers and it is a constant battle. For me as well, though, I think we're all addicted to our phones, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And tomorrow we're going to be looking at technology in education, learning apps, whether they're helpful or harmful to young people, so tune in for that one. Hello, Sal. Sorry, sport.
That's all right. Let's go to sport, shall we? And start with golf. And Matt Fitzpatrick produced a strong finish on the final day of the Open, ending in joint fourth. The Sheffield-born golfer finished 11 under par at Royal Portrush after sinking 2 consecutive birdies heading into the final hole. The day, though, belonged to American Scotty Scheffler, who claimed the claret jug for the first time.
Scotty Scheffler's a different class. Obviously, he's literally a full shot, pretty much better than the next best player in the world, let alone myself, who's not the second best player in the world. So, yeah, it's definitely closer than where it was, and I definitely feel like there's room to improve and you know can move forward.
On to Rugby League now, and in Super League, Castleford Tigers secured their 5th win of the season after beating Warrington 20-14. Warrington took the lead early in the game, but this try from Dejan Assi quickly equalised. An impressive interception from George Lawler put the Tigers ahead, leaving Josh Sims' epic final try to seal the deal. The Tigers remain 10th in the league. Wakefield Trinity moved back into the top 6 with a dominating 42-10 win against Huddersfield Giants. Wakefield saw off their West Yorkshire rivals before half-time thanks to 2 tries from Jayden Myers. A final 3 points from Josh Griffin put the match to bed, securing Wakefield's best ever victory against the Giants. And there was a win for the Leeds Rhinos over Salford Red Devils. Now, the World Pool Championship begins in Saudi Arabia today, and one of the players competing for the $1 million prize pot is Barnsley's Elliot Sanderson. Sanderson, who lost out to fellow Yorkshireman Chris Melling in the early rounds of the championship last year, has only been playing professionally since 2021. He used to work in IT before his pool playing hobby became a career that takes him all over the world.
I'm just a kid from Barnsley who really never had any aspirations to play pool. And I've got an incredible team around me, an unbelievable support network from my family, my wife, my sponsor, and all the sponsors I'm sponsored with as well. So more that I want to do everyone proud, I think, is the feeling. I'd like to win for everyone else who's believed in me. I would really like that.
Good luck to him.
So inspiring. Never too late for a career change, eh?
Yeah.
From IT to pool. Thank you for that. Now, if you have been out and around Huddersfield recently, you might have seen or heard a walking group called We in Front. It's mainly made up of West Indians in their 50s, 60s and 70s. They walk 4 days a week, and the aim is to encourage people to enjoy their retirement years by staying active, getting outdoors and socialising. Errol Hamlet here is their founder, and he's been nominated for a BBC Radio Leeds Make a Difference Award. Here he is.
I'm always happy. Nothing's worrying me now, you know. Nothing at all worry me. I've been through so much. Every day's a bonus for me because, you know, the day I found out I have cancer, I thought I'm dead. So now I wake up every morning smiling, you know. And the things I do with the walking group, perfect for me. So I'm always smiling. Bam bam, what a bam bam, bam bam bidam bam bam. We in Front is a little family that's growing and growing and growing. People cares about each other in a big way. We've got some lonely people that came into the group, and as soon as they came in, the loneliness gone. The loneliness is gone. They know they could lean on our shoulders. Sitting at the top of the bay, wasting time. Being nominated. Oh, I felt really, really on top of the world. That I've done something good. I'm doing something good.
Errol, I love walking with him because he loves to stop and just say, breathe it in. Just breathe it in, stop and stare. Usually Caribbean people don't walk for pleasure. They walk for purpose. You know, and this is walking for leisure, walking for health, walking for the countryside, to be part of it and to enjoy it. So it's fantastic. Love it.
it's like being on a school trip where you get a history lesson and a geography lesson all rolled into one foraging lesson.
Just a wonderful group with wonderful people.
Come on.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Errol is a one-off because I think he's got a magnetic personality. He's got a charisma about him that means people are just drawn to him.
He is like a glue to the whole we in front group.
Errol's just this amazing, gentle giant that loves everything and everyone.
And that's it, we're done. That's it, we're done.
Errol, you're a character. I can see why your team love you. The Make a Difference Awards ceremonies take place in September. Good luck to Errol and all of the nominees. I tell you what, the rain was a bit of a shock to the system over the weekend, wasn't it? And so is Paul Hudson. I feel like you never hear these days. Hello.
Thanks very much. But I mean, it was depressing. We need the rain, don't we? But it was depressing seeing it come down.
I'm covered in mozzies.
Oh, really?
Does the rain bring them out?
Well, I'm not so sure, but enough of your personal problems.
Yes.
Let me show you what's been going on weather-wise, because it's been a beautiful start today, a real mixed picture, but that was Scarborough first thing this morning. It didn't take long for the shower clouds to develop. This next one was taken in the Yorkshire Dales. You can see a complete cloud burst there. As I say, the land needs the rain, but it has been quite excessive, 45 millimetres in Pateley Bridge this weekend. And I've just received, just 10 minutes ago, footage of a tornado. We've not been able to turn it round fast enough, but here's the plug. If you have a look at my social media accounts on X, on Instagram, there's a bit of a Wizard of Oz tornado near Marsden. It is actually quite impressive. We'll show it on Look North tomorrow, but that's the power of social media. It's on there right now. And if you've got any other pictures you want to send or have a look at, they're on the Weather Watcher website. So further thunderstorms to come in the next couple of hours. A small chance of 1 or 2 funnel clouds or tornadoes. Tomorrow, after a sunny start, it turns cloudy with showers pushing in from the west. Now, there's the Atlantic chart. Low pressure, a rare event, low pressure in charge at the moment. But the good news is a ridge of high pressure should slowly settle things down later in the week, and certainly the start of the weekend looks fine and warm. All a long way off. Now you can see the circulation, a big low pressure in there, and you can see these blue specks there. These are the thunderstorms and that tornado in Marsden. They continue for the next few hours, but it does become dry and clear overnight. We'll see lowest temperatures down to 12 Celsius. That is 54 Fahrenheit. High water times, very briefly. Tomorrow's forecast, a sunny start in eastern areas, already cloudy across the Pennines. That cloud will thicken, bringing a risk of showers, especially later to the east, with temperatures around 21 degrees. A full forecast at 10:30.
Thank you very much. Apparently mosquitoes are more active after rain. I thought you would have known that.
Oh, well,
Paul
there we
Hudson.
are. Oh,
That's it
oh,
from
they
us.
do look a mess,
Goodbye.
don't they?
All right.